Hello. A lot of the artwork we've been looking at belongs to Southampton. It's part of our collection. But here at the Art Gallery, we also have exhibitions of other artwork. And at the moment, we've got a fantastic show by an artist called John Hitchens. It's called Aspects of Landscape. And it contains work that was done over 60 years of the artist's life. Now, normally, we'd go in this way, and the exhibition takes you back in time from the work he does now to the work he did long ago. But because no one else is here, we're going to be a little bit naughty, and I'm going to take you in the back way. Come on. John Hitchens was born not far away from here, actually, in a place called the South Downs, and this place has provided the inspiration for loads of his work. On my right, we can see a landscape, a picture of the land that Hitchens did in 1964, which means he was only 24 years old. You can see the parts of a landscape you'd expect to see. In the background, there's a wild sky, in the middle ground, the hill, and in the foreground, the fields. But you can also see it isn't exactly lifelike. He's picked out the parts of the view that he thought were important. And we call that, when it's not exactly lifelike, abstract. Another subject, apart from the area he lived in, that John Hitchens was interested in at this time, was flowers. And if you come with me over here, you can see these flowers with their lovely bright colours are also slightly abstract. We're now in the second room of the exhibition, and we fast forwarded in time about 20 years. If I look here, this artwork was done in the 1980s. Have a look at this painting. How's it different to the landscapes we just looked at? It's much less open. There's no sky or fields. Instead, you can see tree trunks and leaves and branches, and they're very, very closely packed together. This artwork and a lot of the other paintings in this room are based on a real place, a place near his house called Farwood. And in Farwood, it would feel very, very much like this, like you're surrounded by trees inside the forest. I'm going to show you a couple of John Hitchens' sketchbooks now. So if you come with me, you can see here inside the case a very wide sketch pad, and you can see the ring binding that is holding the pages together so that he can get a very wide view, what we might call a panoramic view, I suppose. He's actually opened the pages and is using both of them at once. So you can see there the land, and then pointing out there's the peninsula and the skyline that divides the sea and the sky. In 1985, John Hitchens received a present, as did lots of other artists, from a gallery that he worked with, Waddington Galleries they were. And he used one for his paintings, for his work, and the other for his home life. And I'd like to show you a couple of the personal ones, because I think they're really lovely. And these are the original size. You can see here is an ink sketch of his studios, and you can see the canvases he's working on. There's a chair with, is that a cup of tea? And you can see the shelves full of materials. And then here are his cats gathered around the fireplace. And here there's one, I don't know, being watched by a cheeky teapot. I think they're lovely. This is now the third room of showing John Hitchens' work that we're going to explore today. And you can see here it has really changed. This artwork was created in 2009. And if you look closely, you can see it's very textured. It's not flat at all. And when I met him, I asked him how he did that, and he said that it is by mixing sawdust in with acrylic paint to create the textures. What's this artwork representing? if you look here, you can see it's called field interweave. And I think if you imagine you're up a hill or looking down out of an aeroplane, then that is very much the shape of the fields you might see, particularly when they've been ploughed or when crops have been grown, maybe in rows, as you can see here. Have a look at the shape of it. Remember, the others we looked at are all done on rectangular canvases, whereas here you can see he's really started to experiment with the different shapes a painting can be. If we look in this case here, we can see that not only is he experimenting with different shaped paintings, he's also experimenting with all kinds of surfaces. Here are some broken tiles, some scraps, some fragments, which have been used as a background to paint on. And here, can you see this kind of crinkled piece here? It's actually lots of individual pieces of sellotape that have all been stuck over the top of each other to create a surface to paint on. And if you come with me into the next room, we're going to see a series of artworks where the canvas has been entirely dispensed with. It's almost like walking into a forest. And one of the reasons it feels like that is that each of the artworks is actually made out of a tree. You can see at the base the trunk is whole, and then it's been planed on either side to create a surface to paint on. You've probably noticed in some of the other paintings and in here these curved lines. Imagine you're looking at a map. Can you see here on this one, the contour lines are showing me the height of the hill. In the centre is the highest bit, and the rings outside show as it gradually gets lower. And those contour lines are shown in his artwork here. So here we are at the end of our exhibition tour, and what we're looking at now is actually the view from the window of John Hitchens' studio kitchen. And on the windowsill and the table underneath it are loads of different interesting objects that he's collected to give him inspiration. Have a look here. Have you ever made a ball out of elastic bands? There's one just perched right there. And there's also coils of rope, balls of string. There's a little piece of coral here, and there's also really interesting seed pods and pieces of wood. Looking at the coils of rope now, and looking at the piece of coral, and even the lines that you get on the elastic band ball, it seems to me that they're the lines and the patterns that we've seen in his artwork as we've looked around the exhibition. In the cabinet below, you've got loads of different sizes and shapes of stone, and they've all been painted on, again, instead of canvas or instead of a piece of paper. And I don't know about you, but looking around today has actually given me a lot of inspiration, a lot of ideas of things that I would like to try at home. Are you going out on a walk today? What could you collect that you could use as a piece of artwork? Maybe you'll find pine cones, maybe you'll find a piece of bark or a piece of wood to bring home with you. And maybe you could turn that into your own creation, just like John Hitchens has.